There's a lot of tension on the cocoa beans market. Prices of cocoa beans increased by 170% over the last 18 months. It's blending first the best of European chocolate and the Middle East. The magic working with chefs is that these guys are like artists.
So how do you tackle that from a business perspective?
We don't do business. Our strength is that we've managed to build a community of chefs around the world. We don't want to be bigger. Quality is win over the time.
What are your top 3 favorite cuisines?
Not French.
What's the best thing when it comes to an event like this, when you're coming together and really celebrating such a large brand such as Valrhona?
We appreciate the human factor behind, we appreciate the brand, and I think that's it.
What are the key things chefs should look out for when they're making a menu and collaborating with other chefs?
Organization and also the environment, and see what you can churn out rather than doing crazy stuff and end up you can execute.
Welcome to a truly special edition of the Chef JKP podcast, and this one is a masterpiece like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. For the next 5 episodes, we're celebrating the art, the soul, and the passion of fine chocolate, in partnership with none other than Valrhona. But this isn't just about chocolate. This is about a celebration of culture, community, and creativity in one of the world's most iconic venues, the Louvre Abu Dhabi. Valrhona brought together over 250 chefs, visionaries, artists from all over the corners of the world in a night that was nothing short of magical, in a multi-sensory journey called Le Fil Rouge. In this series, we'll hear from the chefs who shaped the experience, culinary titans like Reif Othman, Hadrien Villedieu, Carmen Rader, Kelvin Chung, Khaled Sadi and Bryce Conan Ferrand, and many, many more as we explore what it means to be part of a global family bound together by craftsmanship, innovation, and the pursuit of pure excellence. So buckle up, taste the moment, and immerse yourself in a story woven by over 100 years of flavor and beautiful chocolate. Time to rock and roll. Olivier, a very warm welcome to the podcast. It's an absolute honor to have you here in this iconic place. Now, can you tell me, first of all, about your favorite chocolate food memory, please?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity. It's highly appreciated. And I have to say, I landed last night and flying back tomorrow.
Wow.
But it was very important for me to be here today to celebrate this very specific event in such an iconic location. And I like the history of blending art and food. And but now to answer more specifically your question, it's I spent many years in Latin America, and when it comes to chocolate, the chocolate was discovered by the Mayas Indians. And so if I have to, let's say, you need to put something specific and personal into experiences. So I'd say my best experience was living in Mexico and experiencing some spiced flavored chocolate with chipotle, and also spiced with cinnamon. In Mexico, surprisingly, the chocolate is always consumed cinnamon flavored.
So it's naturally spiced like that, or they sort of blend it?
No, they blend it. Yeah. They blend it. They add some specific spices and cinnamon and sugar. But that's something which is very surprising, is that there are different ways to consume chocolate around the world. Chocolate, is cocoa bean basically. But the way it is accommodated, in Asia is different than the way it is accommodated in Latin America or in the Middle East. And that's what makes it very, very interesting and so unique.
I was going to say, it must be quite a big contrast, having sort of, as you said, chocolate from South America, and then in North America, then, coming to somewhere like the Middle East, What's been sort of the most interesting, apart from South America, what's been the most sort of interesting continents or countries where chocolate is enjoyed in different ways?
You know, it's very difficult to answer that question. It's like, we travel around the world, and every time, people ask you, what's your favorite place to live? And it's like the $1 million question. It's like, there is no, the best place is the place I've never been to, because, it's discovery. Now, when I joined this company, I remember my first business trip was in Ecuador. Oh. And we are like up in the Andes mountains at 4,000 meters of altitude. And seeing those ladies bringing their like fresh milk to the collecting stable, so that we produce our República del Cacao chocolate was a really unique experience. It was in Totocucho. And like it makes you realize that when we sell obviously products around the world, there is a story behind each different brand, and the story is very different. I know it depends on the sourcing, it depends on the history of the brand. But still, it brings me back to that memory, being in the Andes and seeing these Indians bringing like milk to a factory.
What an amazing sort of thing to witness and to see, because the Andes is also quite it's a very high place. It's incredibly hot, physical, and for me, I would never sort of think that you'd get chocolate so high up.
The chocolate, what we collect in the Andes at the high altitude is the milk, very specific milk with a very specific taste. And the cocoa beans are more produced on the coast, in the jungle, at a lower altitude. But that's what makes Ecuador such a good place to produce chocolate, because you have sugar from the sugarcane, milk from the Andes, cocoa beans from the jungle, wow. And everything blends very well together.
What an amazing mix of flavors, and the produce itself must be so pure. It sounds incredible.
And it's very unique. Part of our portfolio, we have different brands, and obviously Valrhona being the most iconic brand, most famous brand around the world. But we also have like some, let's say, less famous brand, like República del Cacao, with a unique story. And again, depending on what a chef is looking for, what we can bring, either like a very specific European flavored chocolate, or more like a Latin American flavored chocolate. And it's hard to say, it's very successful in Latin America and in the US, because there is such a big Latino community, and they really, really like different chocolate, I'd say.
But in your job, you've been with the company for some time, and you must have seen and witnessed so many different trends when it comes to sort of cacao, chocolate, different flavors. Currently, in the different markets across the world, what would you say are the trends with chocolate?
Hey, not saying that because, we are in the Middle East today, but I have to say the Dubai chocolate is taking the world by surprise. And it's something that we did not see happen at Valrhona. Obviously, we have some customers, some chefs, here in the Middle East that were really into that trend. But I see now, when I traveled, I was in New York like 1 month ago, and I was surprised to see that Dubai chocolate is also getting traction in the US. And it's getting so much traction that it's putting some pressure on the pistachios production.
Oh.
And believe it or not, we start seeing kind of a shortage of pistachios, and prices going up because there's so much demand, triggered by the Dubai chocolate. That's interesting.
And does that also sort of push the growers or the farmers? Also, does that push them a little bit more to sort of produce, or chocolate-wise, you guys are okay? Because I never thought about it, and you're absolutely right. And I don't think anybody saw this trend coming, to be honest, this Dubai chocolate. But it's quite interesting from an insider's perspective. How does that push your production and your teams?
Let's not forget that first, we are dealing with natural resources. Mm-hmm. And for us at Valrhona, we have global brands that are like, again, iconic brands. But let's keep in mind that, what we buy on a yearly basis, roughly 0.2% of the worldwide cocoa beans production. So we are we're not a big player volume-wise, and we don't want to be big in volumes. We want to be really specific and source the best cocoa beans around the world, in Madagascar, in the Dominican Republic, or in Africa, and that's what we want to be. So the brand has been around for like 100 years, and so for a brand to last such a long time, you have to be above the trend. We are not falling into fashion. We believe in quality. We believe in providing solutions to the chefs around the world. We are mainly B2B. 90% of our business is B2B, and we want to keep it that way. And so whenever we have, let's say, to answer more specifically your question, when we have chefs in the Middle East pushing that new trend of Dubai chocolate, we need to ask them, what kind of specificities do you require from our chocolate, to help you produce the best Dubai chocolate? Because, the coating has to be fluid, it has to have like a very specific flavor that matches very well, the inside of the Dubai chocolate, which is very sweet and like pistachio flavored. So that's, how we team up with our chefs. We provide part of the solution, but at the end of the day, the chef will put the final touch in the product.
And then if we talk about the event today, why is it so important to yourself and to Valrhona to host so many talented chefs here, and also to showcase the quality and the phenomenal flavors of Valrhona?
First, the date, was crossed on my agenda a long time ago, because for nothing in the world I would have missed it, because, our team here has been working a lot on it. It's very important for us. And I like the event because it's blending two things. It's blending first the best of European chocolate, Valrhona, who are still very French, even though 2/3 of our business is done outside of France. And it's blending the best of European gastronomy with Middle East flavors, and it's a very important region for us. We opened like a school last year in Dubai, so it's sending a double message, blending Europe and the Middle East. And also I like the fact that the magic working with chefs is that these guys are like artists. And I'll never forget, the quote from our famous chef, Frédéric Beau, who was the founder of L'École Valrhona many years ago. And once we were discussing and, we're talking about the product and the techniques and the ingredients, and he goes, but Olivier, do not forget that, the chefs are creators of emotions. And that's something I always have in the back of my mind. So when we got the opportunity to do like an event together with the Louvre, it's like, okay, it's mixing France and the Middle East, it's bringing art and gastronomy, so it's very, very symbolic. So that's why, it's very specific, and the world is moving fast. We talk about Dubai chocolate. Years ago, who would have thought that one day, the Louvre would open in Abu Dhabi, and it's happening, and it's fantastic. I like that. I'm a citizen of the world, and I like blending cultures, and so personally, I really, really enjoy being here today.
No, but look, I think it's so wonderful and such a creative force to have, of course, the iconic Louvre Abu Dhabi, but brand Valrhona is also iconic. And when it comes to the world's best chefs, whether it's pastry, chocolate, or Michelin-starred restaurants, everybody seems to be using Valrhona, but for a reason, and it's because, as you quite rightly said, the quality, the consistency, the flavors, and chefs are they are artists, as you said.
Yes. And that's what I love about our history, is that all the DNA of the brand, we don't do business. Our strength is that we've managed to build a community of chefs around the world, and we have that that what we call Cercle V, which is like our special membership. So basically, if you've been a chef loyal to the brand for years, you become part of that Cercle V and community, I'd say. And that's where we praise ourselves again. We don't want to be bigger. We don't want to be the biggest, quantity-wise, the biggest chocolate producer in the world, because first, we have to remain sustainable. As I said, we are dealing with natural resources, and natural resources are limited, especially now with global warming. So we believe in quality, and quality, is win over the time, and that's where, we, in a way, differentiate ourselves with other brands. We never compromise on quality. For sure, right now there is a lot of tension on the cocoa beans market. Prices of cocoa beans increased by 170% over the last 18 months because there is a shortage of cocoa beans worldwide.
So how do you tackle that from a business perspective? Because that must be quite challenging.
It is.
Not just to yourself, but also to your loyal customers.
It is. It is because we are sustainable. We've developed long-time partnerships with producers around the world, in Africa, in the Caribbean, and in Latin America. And obviously, they are like getting offers from all the chocolate makers that are like, offering like better prices. But they also know that, Valrhona has been around for like many years, and that in bad years we're there, and we tend to overpay the farmers around the world, because for us, it's an engagement. We have some plantations that we own in Madagascar or in Brazil, and when we commit ourselves, it's not only like to get the best ingredients, but also it's bringing back to the communities. We build schools, we build maternity, we try to provide again sustainable environments. We bring techniques of agroforestry, so that's why they know. And in times where the market is being disrupted, some farmers might be tempted to say, hey, you know what, I'm getting better offers, but to say, you know what, but think about long term. Valrhona was here many years ago. Valrhona will be around down in the future, and so be loyal. And so far, it's been working quite well. We have not, let's say, decreased our marketing expenses, because also, as you said, we are partners of the Michelin events around the world, most of the stars. And our first reaction when the crisis started, the cocoa beans crisis, was, okay, you know what, we need to cut down our marketing expenses, and say no, because we have a responsibility towards the gastronomy. And that's also the beauty of our, let's say, shareholders. It's a family-owned company, and they say, you know what, we think long term, we'll weather those crises. But keep in mind, Valrhona, was invented 100 years ago, invented or created 100 years ago, and we hope to be around 100 years.
So everything is all about those incredible partnerships.
Yeah.
Just like what you have today, really.
Absolutely.
So for you, you've just had a walk around the venue. What are you most looking forward to today?
We will see, and also like in the hotel this morning at breakfast, I bumped into some good old friends, chefs that I've known for many years. One of the guys, last time I saw him was in Singapore 1 year ago, and it's like, I'm expecting to meet some good old friends, and that I don't get to see on a regular basis because we travel so much and they're also very busy. And but such a specific event, for us, gives us enough reasons to invite chefs from around the world, for the Louvre in Abu Dhabi. So that's what we expect, and that's the beauty of such a partnership, is that it's strong enough to bring the best of the chefs from around the world to Abu Dhabi. And that's what I like, again, like in blending for me different cultures.
Amazing.
That's fantastic.
Really?
It is really fantastic. It's exciting for us as
Absolutely.
a brand. That's why I say it's not only about sponsoring that specific event for the Louvre, but it's really like blending different cultures that really matters for us.
So then, from my point of view, I want to sort of take the opportunity to ask you. Obviously, your personal knowledge of chocolate is extensive, I imagine. What is your favorite? What's the one chocolate that you really love to sort of, when you're tasting things around the world, what's your personal favorite?
It's very difficult to answer the question because it depends on your mood.
I was going to say, I think it's because it's the same for me.
Yeah.
I'm half Venezuelan, so I love, of course, Venezuelan chocolate, 72%.
Yeah.
But and in the afternoons, I think dark chocolate for me. But yeah, because I'd like to know from you what you really like.
And and I like to be surprised, so that's why
okay.
I like to test like different chocolates. I have to say, like Venezuela, has the most amazing chocolate. I mean, right now the let's say economic situation makes it difficult to source or to develop long-term partnerships. But for me, the latest again, I mean, I'll get back on what I was saying previously. Being in Ecuador with that specific milk. From the Andes and like panela, from the was such a unique experience because I had never experienced anything like that before. So the point, personally, for me is to be surprised. But also let's not forget that at the end, the chefs are really the ones, asking for some specific recipes. And even though we're like a global brand, for us, we like to customize our recipes. So when you have chefs asking for like a specific taste or like specific fluidity of the product, and that's where also we are making a difference because being such a small player, we are still adjustable and we can produce custom-made chocolate covers for some chefs, and that's what we like to do.
I love that. Now I'm going to take you off the topic of chocolate. As you mentioned previously, you travel the world extensively because of your job. I would like to understand, as of right now, what are your top 3 favorite cuisines to eat?
Not French. Surprisingly. That's what I always tell my team when I travel, don't take me to a French restaurant. Not because I like French cuisine, but I can have it at home. Even though I travel a lot. Surprisingly, you know what? I mean, the French cuisine is very famous. It's part of the World UNESCO World Heritage. But something which is less known is that also the Mexican cuisine. That's the only one beside French, which is part of the UNESCO Heritage. And I love it because it's so diverse. You can eat roasted grasshoppers. You can have, fried worms with different flavors, which makes it very, very different. But what I like very much right now, and I have to say that Asian chefs are also very good at that. It's a fusion, like blending, let's say, traditional Asian food with different flavors coming from Latin America or like even coming from Europe. I like that. The idea again of blending like different cultures. So I'd say Mexican cuisine is excellent. I was in Tokyo 10 days ago, and I have to say that something which the French tend to overlook. There are more Michelin star restaurants in Tokyo than in Paris. So when it comes to food, I have to say the Japanese cuisine is also fantastic, and I'd say also Southeast Asian cuisine is very good because you can have like sweet and spices. So it's but again it's like I'm waiting for the next cuisine to be discovered, and that's really what I'm looking for.
So Olivier, in terms of your spice levels, because it seems that you love to have a bit of sort of spice. You were telling me earlier on with the Mexican sort of chocolates that they mix. There's a little bit of spice in there. Then you're telling me about Mexican and then Asian fusion. So traditionally, the Europeans are known for not having too much of a spice tolerance. How's yours?
It has increased a lot.
I was going to say.
yes, I have to say. I can take very spicy, pretty like spicier than average.
Sure.
But yes, I can tell that, whenever I go to some cuisines, and it shows, how like cuisine is very linked to the culture. Like some restaurants, especially in the US, they say like hot, medium, and very spicy. And on average, when you don't know what to expect, you go to medium. It's like, well, it's blend.
Okay.
So I like it very. I like it very spicy.
With a nice kick.
Yes, definitely.
Well, Olivier, look, the other thing I wanted to sort of say and highlight is that you are the Chief Business Officer for Valrhona. It's an incredibly responsible position. On behalf of the Chef JKP podcast here in Abu Dhabi, in this iconic location, thank you very much for taking the time to be here today. It's an extremely important occasion, and we feel privileged and honored that you're here, and I know it's going to be incredible. And thank you so, so much.
Again, thank you very much, guys, for your time.
Thank you. We have the phenomenal duo, which is Reif and Hadrien. Thank you very much for coming on the show. So, gents, as you know, we always kick off with a food memory. Can you tell me your first or favorite chocolate food memory, please? Reif, we'll start with you.
Chocolate memory.
Yes, please.
Oh, I think it's never been Valrhona, to be honest. I think back the days when I was a kid, we just buy some bad quality chocolate, I think. I think that's where it started. I think the ice cream, I would say.
Chocolate ice cream.
Chocolate ice cream. I think with the uncle down the road with the bell, cling, 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 cling. I think that's where it's just like, my first memory of chocolate. That's my first bite. And then, yeah.
And are you still loving chocolate ice cream to this day?
Yeah, of course. Because I think a lot of people does chocolate ice cream a bit, how to say, some are very bitter, some are very dull, some very boring, some very sweet. So the balance of the chocolate and sugar has always been not balanced, I would say. So yeah, so I still love chocolate. I think chocolate ice cream has always been very has a lot of character, I would say. Like vanilla, the rest is normal, right? But chocolate has always been hit and miss.
I agree with you,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
I think that balance of like bitter, salty, sweet, to get it perfect is quite
Exactly. Some of them
challenging.
put chocolate chips inside. You know what I mean? So there's always been hit and miss. So I think chocolate ice cream has always been my fave. So yeah.
And Hadrien, for you?
I think I will say when my parents were having like coffee, the little chocolate there is on the side, they always used to like give it to me. That was like the only sweet or chocolate I could have. I would say that's the first one. And also, when your parents are cooking like chocolate cake at home, you're always like allowed to lick the bowl with your finger. So I think that's like the two best memories I have.
Nice.
The classic.
Classic,
I like it. So, gents, look, we are in this incredible location, the iconic Louvre Abu Dhabi, to do with all things Valrhona and art. But for you, both of you are creators. Now, as artists, how would you say these two worlds come together? Because, anything can set you off when it comes to creating dishes and creating artistry on a plate. But when you come to a place like this, how important is it to be part of the culinary community?
I think for me, what is that? I would love to balance up with ingredients from Valrhona, but nevertheless as well, what I'm doing as well doesn't fit the atmosphere. And at the same time as well, on the operation side as a chef, we need to make sure that efficient, sharp, quality control, and bang bang. You know what I mean? So and my dish is gonna be a marble steam bun. So I think it's a bit unique, as a color itself, get a bit of character, since it's art. So I think it looks nice as a marble bun. And then we have the contrast of the tuna o toro and akame. So we have the reddish and pinkish. And I think the whole steam bun looks nice on this, I would say, event, I would say.
But because that steam bun almost looks like the Louvre anyway, right? With
maybe.
the roof and pink.
And you're in the ocean as well.
Yeah, so it's very
nice.
beautiful,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
And Hadrien, for you, what dishes are you creating?
I made like a confit duck ravioli. Obviously, I'm French, so I'm using confit duck.
Ah bah oui, hein?
Ah bah oui. And some foie gras, obviously,
Without Phil,
bringing all the roots. But we twist it. Obviously, we're doing a chicken jus, and we monted the chicken jus instead of butter. We're using dulce chocolate from Valrhona, so to create something that has a bit more depth, a bit more sweet. And again, I think like Reif said, I think it's important in a space like that, it's to create not only a good dish, but it's a good looking dish. Because you're in a place where it's like art is first. So I think like the pieces that we're creating tonight for the event needs also to reflect that. And it's a beautiful environment, so.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I was going to say, there's quite a few of you in the kitchen tonight.
Yeah.
Sharing that space. How did you also sort of come about, curating the menu? Because all of you, especially the two of you, you've got two very separate styles, both very signature based, I would say. People love your dishes. But how did you start to curate the menu for tonight?
I think, to be honest, every chefs were like giving different ideas of what they could do. And I think the Valrhona team and everyone was like trying to find what they can put in place to make sure there is not like too much of repetitiveness, and to make sure that it represents each chef. As you said, it's important that each dish represents also the chef, and it's not only just a creation for tonight, and it's the personality that you put in. So I think, when people were sending their list and like what they want to create for tonight, it kind of like makes sense, because the entities are there anyway. So it's like completely like a nice lineup of separated entities of chefs. And I think it comes together with like different flavors with a single red thread, which is the chocolate at the end of the day,
Yeah.
And for you, Reif, what's the sort of thread of chocolate of Valrhona that you're sort of wanting to put through this menu?
What is that? There's a lot of crazy things I want to put, but I think I'll stay away. I just keep it raw, clean. I think that's my background, I would say.
Because I was semi expecting to have the sort of toilet roll cake.
No,
because it's super cool.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's a super cool dessert, very playful.
Yeah.
I think it's very stylish.
Yes,
it is.
It is.
So you could have done a little one of those.
Yeah, I wish.
I think,
better.
but look. And the other thing I wanted to say, it must be quite nice to collaborate between the two of you, because, again, you're well known in the industry. You've worked several years in different places around the world. What's the best thing when it comes to an event like this, when you're coming together and really celebrating such a large brand such as Valrhona, Hadrien?
Look, I think, when Valrhona reached out to all of the chefs, I'm sure they all said yes straight away, without even like asking what's the event, how many people or whatever, or what it takes to do it. I think it's because we appreciate the human factor behind, we appreciate the brand, and I think that's it. It's, when we are able to all be together, it's super cool. We never end up being all these chefs in the same kitchen. It never happens, ever. So just only if you do collaboration with a chef or two, it can happen. But like to be all these chefs all together, I think it's more like a night of fun more than a night of work, at the end of the day.
100%.
But Reif, for you, you're also well known for you doing incredible collaborations around the world. What are the key things chefs should look out for when they're making a menu and collaborating with other chefs? What are the top tips you would recommend?
I think organization. I think that's the key, and also what is that? You need to see the environment of the space and see what you can churn out rather than doing crazy stuff and end up you can execute. I think these are the two things that you need to adapt with the kitchen as well. So a lot of chefs don't see that, So I think they need to adapt the kitchen, then you create the menu. But a lot of chefs just give the menu without even thinking that does the kitchen works. That's very important. You know what I mean? So I think that's the two key things that I've always do for my collab. So,
but then when you're coming together, as you said, it's very rare to have so many amazing talents in one space. I think it's very rare. What sort of lights you up when you get into a sort of community like this with strong personalities and, working in such an amazing industry? What do you love to talk about with these chefs?
Nothing much though. I always tease him.
To be honest, nothing
We
much.
just talk rubbish, We
Yes.
don't talk about food. We don't
No,
talk about
never.
restaurant.
Never.
We never talk about what you're doing. No. Pure zero. We talk about family, kids. I think that's what we always catch up with. That's purely. Nothing about work.
I think we are so busy in our kitchen every day, and when each other see each other because they come to have dinner at your restaurant, that's when you talk more maybe business. But when it's like for fun, you just want to let it go a little bit and not being too serious about talking about food. Oh, how did you do this? How did you do that? It's more time to be together, because it really never happens.
Yeah.
It's very hard for everyone even to just grab a coffee with another chef and just to have a little hangout.
Yeah.
But then, again, if I bring it back to chocolate, in your opinion, I would like to understand whether it's with pastries, bakery, or hot kitchen. What do you think is the biggest mistake that chefs make when it comes to sort of cooking or dealing with chocolate generally?
Oh, I never do really a lot of playing with chocolate too much. I think that I have not seen any chef made a lot of mistake with the chocolates. I think so far I've seen good stuff for me, in my experience. I never seen a lot of they shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. But yeah, and I've never been a pastry chef, so I'm not I'll say judge on someone doing this right or wrong. But of course, you can see the techniques, you can see the skills. I think the finishing, I think that's the little things that I can comment. But yeah.
Hadrien?
I think chocolate is a very complex product, like any product. So I think you just need to understand it before you can use it in any dish. It can be a starter, a main course, or a dessert. You just need to understand the complexity of the type of chocolate you're going to use and add it as a seasoning and not as a base. I think that's the most important. I agree with the Reif. I don't think I've seen someone using chocolate and it was really like, oh, it was a bad idea.
No, because both of you are using beautiful ingredients tonight, like really stunning ingredients, and it's not easy to execute, as you both quite rightly said. So I just wondered whether both of you are from the hot kitchen side, and some chefs will use chocolate, for example, if they're using venison, they'll use a chocolate sauce and things like that. So whether it could be overpowered or not. So I just wanted to get your take on that.
Like every ingredient, I think, it can be vanilla, it can be chocolate, it can be beetroot or whatever you use. Sometimes I think because it can be strong ingredient, just need to balance it. And also chocolate is always assimilated to like a sweet thing, but it's not. You can definitely use it in the sauce or just to break the acidity of a dish or the fattiness. So I think it's more how do you balance it and how do you use the product.
Yeah.
So then I will say to you, gents, and I want you to think very carefully about this next answer.
Okay.
Oula.
If you were going to describe yourself as a chocolate dessert,
Chocolate dessert.
what would it be and why?
Chocolate dessert. Wow. A tough one, huh? I would be yuzu white chocolate.
Right.
And I love
Because
yuzu.
Raif?
Because they, I always work with Japanese ingredients, and I like acid. Yuzu has a very distinct flavor and aroma, and I think it always goes well with white chocolate rather than dark chocolate. And I will have that and a bit of ooze.
Love that.
You know what I mean? Nice.
Love it.
That's what I look at it.
Love it. Hadrien?
Thanks, because it gave me time to think also.
Exactly.
I will be actually a soufflé because I'm French, so I have no choice. But I will make like a chocolate soufflé, something nice, a bit bitter. But I will go a bit crazy and I will add avocado and pistachio ice cream on top.
Oh, mama.
Ooh,
Very
nice.
Dubai chocolate.
Exactly.
Something
I can see that. I can
on
see
the
that.
trend, So yes,
Very sharp.
I will do something like that. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. So, gents, quick fire question for you. Quick fire question. Now, first of all, tell me a dish that as soon as you think of this dish, it makes you think of home. Raif.
A dish.
A dish. Any dish that makes you think of home.
Like what? From tonight events or
No,
in general?
Generally.
What is that? Chicken rice.
Chicken rice?
Yes.
Hadrien?
Roast chicken also, every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Yeah.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Raif?
Savory.
Savory. Now, with Valrhona, are you baking, glazing, or just eating the chocolate block?
Eating chocolate block.
Baking.
Baking?
Yeah.
Nice. What are you baking?
I would say more simple stuff like, chocolate cake, stuff for kids, family oriented.
Okay.
Banana bread with chocolate chips.
Beautiful.
This kind of stuff.
Okay.
Simple, straightforward. I'm not going to go crazy at home.
What would you say is the most underrated ingredient in your kitchen?
Underrated.
Underrated. That not many people sort of know about.
Wow.
Oh wow. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Most of the things people know about it.
Chocolate? Okay.
Chocolate? Everything's chocolate.
Maybe wild garlic.
Oh, good one. Okay.
Yeah, just
White
because
garlic flour, yeah.
Yeah,
I received some lately, so maybe I will say that's underrated because
Yes.
I think, for
Yeah, that's
example, in
true.
France we find it a lot, but
It grows wild, right?
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
here
yeah.
it's not something you see a lot. And even I was surprised. I was like, wow, it's been a long time I didn't saw that. But
True, actually.
Very nice.
Yeah. I use that as well.
Wild garlic is amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
One word, gents, one word, please, that would describe your cooking style.
Unconventional.
Unconventional. Love it.
modern.
Modern. All right. So I'm going to set the scene. It's been a long service. It's Friday, Saturday night, okay? You haven't eaten the whole service because you've just been smashing it on the pass. What is your guilty meal of choice after service?
Yeah, easy for me.
Easy
Tell
for
me.
me.
I can start a burger.
What type of burger, please?
Any burger, like
Any.
a nice good burger with like a nice patty and some cheese. That's it, simple. Something I can eat like that, you know, still standing next to the pass, but that's it. Just to
The
make
original junk food man.
yeah, exactly. It's
That's
back,
how we do it, no?
Back
That's how we
in,
do it.
back
Yeah.
in my vein, you know.
Exactly,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Rafe?
Instant noodle.
Instant noodles.
Yeah,
Also.
easy. Yeah.
Spicy or?
Spicy, of course. Spicy. I think, if you look at it, us as a chef, we cook good stuff and end up we eat junk food.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's always
It's
like
just
that.
so sad, right? We don't pamper ourselves.
No, it's either a burger or a pizza, but I would never say, oh, I will do like a nice tenderloin with the
Yeah.
Yeah, we never even think
never,
of that.
never.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's the easier the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go home and just grab a shawarma.
Right,
Yeah, love it too.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Love it too.
Yeah,
Actually.
easy.
100%.
One shawarma, one tea, pop, allez.
Done. Thank you.
You have a nice day.
So, gents, look, I want to say thank you very much for coming on the show. It's
Thank
been
you so
amazing
much.
to have the both of you.
Thanks.
Actually,
It's
it's
been
super
pleasure.
cool.
Yeah.
Merci beaucoup.
Super cool.
Merci.
Number one.
I don't need to wish you luck for tonight because I know you're going to smash it for this incredible event. Now, what are you really most looking forward to this evening?
I think people.
Yeah.
I think meeting new people, I would say. I think that's what I want. I love to see new people. I think that's the key of everything. And then, yeah.
Yeah, same as Reif. I think human factor is it's why we're here tonight. It's not only about cooking or an event, but it's the human factor, and also to see everyone in the same kitchen, joke around and tease everyone, try the food of all the chefs, and that's it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Gents,
A
amazing.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Well, I don't know about you, but I thought that was incredible. That's it for today's episode of our Valrhona and Louvre Abu Dhabi special, but we're just getting started. If you felt inspired, if you tasted the passion in every word, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Super important. And don't forget to click, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Most importantly, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, on the Chef JKP podcast, and Valrhona IMEA to relive those magical moments from the Fil Rouge under that one beautiful dome at the Louvre. So, a massive thank you for Valrhona for putting all of these incredible talents under one phenomenal roof. All that's left for me to say is, food is art, food is culture, and above all, food is memories.